I've got to come clean. There is no major, terrific, great news. There is some good news, but it's not the greatest news you ever heard. The reason why I did that was because I wanted everyone to watch this video because I think everyone should kind of bathe and just marinate in what was a really awesome season for the Denver Broncos, whether or not they win or lose on Sunday. And I thought you guys might enjoy a little bit of a trip down memory lane with me. So I'm sorry, it was a misleading title, but I think at the end of the video, you won't be very mad at me. Now, really quickly, we are closing in on 31,500 subscribers. Help us reach that before kickoff on Sunday. But the news that did come out today that kind of got my wheels turning on all of this is Bo Nix was named the AFC Offensive Player of the Week in Week 18, 4 touchdown passes against the Chiefs. And it's the second time in his rookie season he was named Player of the Week. All in all, the Broncos had 6 players named to that award, or that honor, if you will. Cody Barton in Week 7, Pat Surtain in Week 5, Marvin Mims in Week 15, twice for Wil Lutz, altogether 7 times. That is the most in a season for the Broncos since that explosive offensive year in 2013. Now, a lot of the conversation recently has been around who's going to win Rookie of the Year, Bo Nix or Jayden Daniels. I think the truth is both quarterbacks have really good cases. Obviously, you and I are a little biased here. Jayden Daniels definitely had some really fun wow plays and stretches, but I think Bo Nix, if he was taken 2nd overall and Daniels was taken 11th overall, it would be Nix hands down. So there's probably just some bias because Daniels taken earlier, so everyone just wants to naturally assume, well, he's going to be a slightly better player. If it were up to me, I would vote Bo Nix. I think Bo Nix, what he was working with in Denver, it's not like it was nothing, right? But everyone was ragging on the Broncos, and partially myself included in terms of, look at what he's working with, right? There's no run game. Courtland Sutton's the only receiver. He was making Devon Vele and Troy Franklin a borderline household name in the Denver metro area. Jayden Daniels had a really good running attack with Brian Robinson, Austin Eckler, Scary Terry at wide receiver, Zach Ertz at tight end. Both teams had good offensive lines. I think Nix, just from a numbers perspective, still outplayed Daniels, working with a little bit less. So if it were up to me, I would say Bo Nix should win Rookie of the Year. I'll turn it over to you guys really quickly. Give me a 10 in the comment section below if you think Bo deserves to be Rookie of the Year. But that's not the only thing I wanted to talk about on today's show. I also want to take a moment just to give flowers and give credit to Sean and George Paton. They did a fantastic job this season. And I'm not trying to say all this as if Denver's going to lose on Sunday and this is a eulogy. No, I think the Broncos are going to win. I think they match up quite nicely with the Buffalo Bills. But let's just take a moment to recognize these two guys were not handed a great hand. Now, that was partially self-induced by moving on from Russell Wilson and that monster contract, but they had $89 million of their cap space tied up in dead money, right? Money they couldn't spend on free agents and other things like that. They did not have a plethora of draft picks to work with. They had their first, they had their third. It was the first time they had picked in round 1 over the last 3 seasons. And despite not having a ton of ammunition to spend in free agency or a ton of capital to use on in the draft, we're looking at a 10-7 ball club, vastly exceeding what everyone else set out for the Broncos to do this season. So you know what? I'm going to give a lot of credit right now to Sean and George Paton. They deserve it. There were moments and times where I was skeptical and I was critical. And hand up, I'm very happy to be proven wrong on this because I think those two guys right there did an absolute stellar job in 2024. Now, next up on the show, I want to run through some of the receipts out there that I think you guys will really enjoy. But first, a quick shout out to our friends over at Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players. Now, basketball season is heating up, and Prize Picks is the best place to get real money action while watching your favorite sports. You can now win up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. Prize Picks also offers Venmo and MasterCard for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals into your account this season. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. All of that information is in the comments and description of today's video. Here's an example of my selections take for the upcoming games on Thursday and Friday. So I invite everyone watching to download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. So, getting back a little bit to the receipts now. And I'm not going to stand here and tell you guys that I have been at the forefront of this charge, but I am showing a picture on screen of when I went to Vegas in September and I put a future on the Broncos over at 5.5 wins, which was the easiest bet I've ever placed. And to prove that's actually my slip right there, you can see my dog in the background. But Zach Kleberman has done a really fun job of keeping some receipts of the big wigs and some of the media out there that have doubted the Broncos along the way. So I thought we'd enjoy a nice stroll down memory lane. Not that I've been at the forefront of saying this team is going to be the greatest team ever. I've definitely had some of my misses and hits, but I predicted them to go 9-8 before the season started, and they came pretty close to that. Glad they exceeded it. So let's go back in time. I remember this. After the draft, ESPN said the Broncos have the 31st best team. 31st best roster. Yikes. That's not aging very well. How about this one here? The race to the number 1 pick for 2025 going into 2024. The Broncos projected to finish number 1 overall. That's not aging very well. Or how about this one? Right before the season got underway. Denver Super Bowl odds. Dead last. You want to know what Vegas' nightmare is right now? This right here, and anyone that put a future on the Broncos to win the Super Bowl. Or how about from CBS when they ranked all 32 coaches? Yeah, Sean Payton definitely looking like the 18th best coach in football right now. You know, going 10-7 with the rookie quarterback and the number 1 most dead money in the NFL. Surely, there are not 17 better coaches than Payton. So, listen. This season for the Broncos, in my eyes, is a major success. Not because it's supposed to be some one-off. No, this honestly is the most, and I hope I don't jinx anything, but the most satisfying feeling for Broncos country that the 2 most important pieces are in place. Bo Nix has shown you a ton of incredible stuff in year 1. Sean Payton has shown you that he can have success without Drew Brees. And maybe best of all, the Broncos ownership, in my eyes, is the best ownership in the National Football League. It's an ownership group that continues to invest and support this team. Where so often we see ownership groups either, have Hoover flags or don't want to invest in themselves and invest in the facilities, or they try to meddle and be a GM themselves. No, Denver Broncos ownership group has done a fantastic job of letting Sean and George Payton do their jobs, signing any checks necessary. You guys want a new field? Yeah, we'll spend $500,000 on a new field, even if it's used just once. Like, there is no better ownership group in the National Football League than the Walton Penner Group. And now you've got the right pieces in place at head coach and quarterback, and the future is looking very, very bright for the Denver Broncos. And they finally got that monkey off, not the monkey off the back. They finally kicked that drought of not making the postseason. No longer the second longest drought in football. And I can't wait to see them build off this season. But make no mistake, 2024 was a ginormous success for the Denver Broncos. And hopefully it's not ending anytime soon because I like their chances against the Bills. So we'll end with this right here. Predict the score for me. Broncos versus Bills. I'll remind you that since 2020, when the NFL expanded to a 7-team playoff, a 6 or 7 seed has won every time. So here are our 4 bachelors then. You've got the 6-seeded Steelers. I don't think they're going to beat the Ravens. You got the 7-seeded Broncos. I like their chances a lot more than Pittsburgh to knock off their opponent. And then in the NFC, you got the 6-seeded Commanders going to Tampa. And you've got the 7-seeded Packers going to Philly. God's honest truth, of those 4 teams right there, my ranking of how likely I think an upset can occur, it goes Broncos 1, Commanders 2. I'll put Steelers 3 and Packers 4. So someone's going to win if history repeats itself, which it often does. That will do it for us on today's episode. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it was a little bit different than our usual topics here, but I thought we could all use a little bit of fun, uplifting news going into the playoff game.